The room is small. 2 chairs, a low table, a portfolio, and across from you, someone who is going to decide whether you get this job. They look at your resume, they look at you, and then they say, "So, tell me about yourself." For many English learners, a job interview is the highest stakes conversation they will ever have in English. Every word is weighed, every pause is noticed, and unlike everyday conversation, you only get one chance to make the right impression. Today, we learn how to handle it. By the end of this episode, you will know how to introduce yourself professionally, answer the most common interview questions with confidence, and talk about your experience and your strengths clearly, naturally, in English. This is day 21 of your 30-day English journey. Day 21. 9 days left. You have just entered Phase 3, B1 Intermediate. The pace is faster now. The sentences are longer. The vocabulary is richer. This is the level where your listening fluency becomes real, where you stop translating and start understanding. 9 more days to get there. Sarah is back in Brooklyn. She spent 4 days in Boston, walking, drawing, thinking. She met Eleanor at a café in the South End. She talked about Granville, Ohio, and maple trees, and the version of herself who didn't know yet what was coming. And then she came home. And 2 days after she got back, her phone rang. It was a design studio in Manhattan. They had seen her portfolio, the same work she had submitted for the Brooklyn Creative Awards. They wanted to meet her. The interview was scheduled for Monday morning. It was Sunday evening. Let's go. The cafe was on a corner in Carroll Gardens, one of those places that seems to exist slightly outside of time. Small, warmly lit, with fogged-up windows and 2 small tables outside on the pavement, sheltered under a dark green awning. The kind of cafe where the chairs don't match and the music is always just quiet enough. Sarah and Maya had been sitting there for almost 2 hours. On the table between them, 2 empty coffee cups, a shared slice of lemon cake with 1 bite left, Sarah's open laptop showing her portfolio, and a folded piece of paper with Maya's handwritten questions on it. Maya picked up the paper and cleared her throat dramatically. "So," she said, in a voice meant to sound professional and important, "Miss Chen, tell me about yourself." Sarah straightened in her chair. She had answered this question 4 times already tonight. "My name is Sarah Chen. I'm a freelance graphic designer based in Brooklyn. For the past 4 years, I've been working with clients on branding, editorial design, and digital campaigns, and recently I submitted a portfolio for the Brooklyn Creative Awards, which is how your studio found my work." Maya lowered the paper. "Okay, that was actually really good. Was it too fast?" "No, it was confident. You sounded like you knew what you were talking about." "I do know what I'm talking about." "Right, but yesterday you sounded like you were apologizing for existing." Sarah laughed. Outside, a couple walked past on the pavement, a dog on a leash, a paper bag from the grocery store. The street was quiet and orange-lit, the kind of Brooklyn evening that makes you feel like everything is exactly where it should be. To apply for a job means to formally submit your information, your resume, your portfolio, your cover letter, as a candidate for a position. Sarah had applied for this role 2 weeks ago. She hadn't expected to hear back so quickly. Maya consulted her list. "Okay, next one. What are your greatest strengths?" Sarah took a breath. "I think my greatest strength is that I pay close attention to detail, not just in the design itself, but in understanding what a client actually needs, which isn't always what they say they need. I ask a lot of questions before I start anything." Maya made a small approving noise. And your weaknesses? I take too long on things sometimes. I revise more than necessary. Is that true, or are you just saying it because it sounds humble? Both, Sarah said. Maya picked up the last bite of lemon cake. You're going to be fine, she said. You know this work. You've been doing it for 4 years. Just be the person who knows what she's doing, not the person who's hoping they won't notice she's nervous. Sarah looked at her laptop screen, the portfolio page that had caught the studio's attention. A brand identity project she had worked on for 3 months. Clean, considered, intentional. I know, she said. I know. They sat together for a little longer until the café began to fill up with the Sunday evening crowd and the music got slightly louder. Maya paid for the cake. Sarah left the tip. Outside on the pavement, Maya gave her a brief, firm hug. Text me the second it's over. I will. And wear the cream sweater. Sarah smiled. Already planned. Monday morning. Sarah was up at 7, earlier than she needed to be, but sleep had become difficult sometime around 4 in the morning. She made coffee, stood at the window, watched a gray pigeon navigate the fire escape across the street. She took a long shower. She ironed the cream sweater, the one she had bought on Newberry Street the month before, though she realized now it was actually from the shopping trip in day 15, before Boston. It didn't matter. It was the right sweater. She looked at herself in the mirror for a long moment. Her resume was a single page, a clean, well-designed document that listed her education, her experience, and her skills. A resume is the written summary of your professional background that you bring to an interview. It should be accurate, legible, and, if you're a designer, it should also look good. Sarah's did. She put 3 printed copies into a slim folder, then her portfolio, then her notebook. She took the subway from Carroll Street into Manhattan, the F train, express after J Street. She stood in the car and read through her notes, not because she had forgotten anything, but because having something to look at felt better than having nothing to look at. The train emerged above ground briefly near Smith and Ninth, and for a moment she could see all of Lower Manhattan spread out ahead of her, the buildings catching the low November light, the harbor in the far distance, gray and flat. She thought, I've been doing this for 4 years. I know how to do this. The train went back underground. 22 minutes later, she was in the Flatiron district. The studio was on the 5th floor of a building on West 22nd Street, a converted loft space with exposed brick walls, tall windows, and a long communal table covered in proofs and printouts. The receptionist offered her water. She said yes. She sat in a low chair near the window and looked at the street below. A first impression, the initial opinion someone forms of you in the first moments of meeting, is made faster than most people realize. Sarah knew this. She sat up straight. She kept her face open and calm. Sarah? The woman who came to greet her was perhaps 40, with close-cropped dark hair and the kind of energy that suggested she moved quickly and thought faster. Her name was Nina. She was the creative director. They went to a smaller room at the back. 2 chairs, a low table, natural light. Nina didn't look at her phone once during the interview. Sarah noticed that and felt grateful for it. Tell me about yourself, Nina said. Sarah told her. The same version she had practiced with Maya the night before, but slightly different now. Warmer, less rehearsed. She talked about starting out doing logos for small businesses in Brooklyn, how that had grown into larger branding projects, how she thought about design as a form of translation, taking something complex and making it instantly readable. Nina nodded. What do you think makes someone a good fit for a studio like ours? To be a good fit means to match well with a team, a role, or a company's way of working. It isn't only about skills, it's about how you think, how you communicate, how you handle feedback. I think it's the ability to hold two things at once, Sarah said. Your own point of view and the client's. You have to care about the work and be willing to let go of it at the same time. Nina looked at her for a moment. Then she opened Sarah's portfolio on the table between them. She turned pages slowly, stopped at the brand identity project. This one, she said. Tell me the story behind it. Sarah told her. The client, the brief, the 3 directions she had explored before landing on this one, the version the client had almost chosen instead, and why she had pushed back. Nina listened without interrupting. When Sarah finished, Nina closed the portfolio and sat back in her chair. We'll be in touch, she said. We have 2 more candidates to meet this week, but I want you to know this is a strong body of work. Thank you, Sarah said. And she meant it, not as a filler, not as a reflex, but as a real response to something real being said. The elevator took a long time to arrive. Sarah stood in the hallway and looked at the framed prints on the wall, past projects from the studio. Clean work, considered work, the kind of work she wanted to be part of. Outside, West 22nd Street was cold and bright. She stood on the pavement for a moment, not moving. The city moved around her. A delivery bike, 2 men in suits, a woman walking a small terrier. Everything was exactly as loud as it always was. She took out her phone and texted Maya. Done. I think it went well. She said, strong body of work. That means something, right? Maya replied in 11 seconds. That means something. Call me. Sarah smiled and put her phone away. She would call in a minute. First, she just wanted to stand here for a moment, on this particular pavement, on this particular Monday morning, feeling exactly this particular feeling. To follow up after an interview means to contact the company within 1 or 2 days. A short, professional email thanking them for their time and reaffirming your interest in the position. It is a small gesture, but it matters. Sarah already knew what she would write. She had done everything she could do. The rest was waiting. She started walking toward the subway. The Flatiron building was visible at the end of the block. That strange, narrow wedge of stone that had stood on this corner for over 100 years, watching the city change around it. She had always liked that building. She passed it slowly, looked up once, and kept going. Today, Sarah had her interview at a design studio in Manhattan's Flatiron district. The night before, she sat with Maya at a corner café in Carroll Gardens, practicing her answers, finishing a slice of lemon cake, and remembering that she already knew what she was doing. On Monday morning, she took the F train into the city, walked into a 5th-floor loft with exposed brick walls, and sat across from Nina, the creative director. She talked about her work, clearly, confidently, in English. And Nina said, strong body of work. Now she waits. Let's review today's vocabulary. To apply for a job. To formally submit your materials as a candidate for a position. A résumé. A written summary of your education, experience, and skills, also called a CV. Qualifications. The skills, experience, and education that make you suitable for a role. A first impression. The opinion someone forms of you in the first moments of meeting. Strengths and weaknesses. Your positive qualities and the areas where you could improve. A common interview topic. To be a good fit. To match well with a role, team, or company culture. Relevant experience. Work history that directly relates to the job you're applying for. To follow up, to contact someone after a meeting or interview to express continued interest. A job offer, a formal proposal inviting you to work for a company. A portfolio, a curated collection of your best work that demonstrates your skills and range. Day 21 done. If you finished today's episode, type Day 21 done in the comments. And I want to know, have you ever had a job interview in English? What was the hardest question? Tell me below. Tomorrow is day 22. Sarah gets a call and she has to make a decision, saying yes, saying no, asking for more time. Making decisions and expressing uncertainty in English is a skill of its own, and tomorrow we practice it together. Keep listening, keep learning. See you tomorrow.